Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite ways to encourage quieter learners to speak in pairs or groups. I decided to make this video because recently I've had a few teachers come up to me and tell me, Brian, when we do group work, I always notice a few students who seem to hide or manage to say nothing in their group. I try to encourage them, but what more could I do? And this got me thinking, what are some interesting ways to get reluctant students to speak in their groups? Before we get started, I just want to say that it's absolutely normal that some students will be shyer, less confident, weaker at English, or even less willing to speak. And that could be for whatever reason. Encouraging them to speak is part of our job. And part of that is to do with making sure that we allow space for them to participate. That we create opportunities for them to become part of the conversation and to share the spotlight. It's oftentimes the case that quieter and slower students simply get squashed out by the stronger, louder, more impatient students. And some of the techniques that I'm going to explain in this video work on both managing the louder students while at the same time encouraging the quieter ones to speak up. In this video, we're going to talk about a technique that works best at discouraging passengers. And what I mean by that is in group work, some people tend to talk a lot, whilst others say little. And this is either because they can't get a word in edgewise, or because they're okay with being passengers in the group. Now, this would be okay if it were a social setting or a casual conversation, but not in a language learning classroom. One of the most effective and frankly easiest techniques that I've used to get students to participate more actively in class is through the use of participation tokens. And here's how it works. You hand out some tokens before the class. And these could be colored counters, money from a board game, pebbles, beads, Lego bricks, or anything that's small enough in which you have a quantity of. So each student would normally receive the same quantity. For example, they might get 5 or 6 tokens each. When doing the task, each time a person speaks, and what I mean by this is for more than a short 1 or 2 word offering, a complete sentence or a really good answer, they take one of their tokens and place it in the middle of the table. Once they have used up all their tokens, they cannot speak again until everyone has used up all of their tokens as well. And after that, anybody can speak freely. So there you go. Participation tokens are an easy, simple, and effective way to ensure that every student in your classroom gets their fair share of the spotlight. But before we close, I'd like to pose some questions for reflection. First, do you generally allow quiet students to remain quiet in your class? And if not, how do you encourage them to speak? And secondly, do you really know why your students are quiet? Is there a tangible or known reason that really jumps to your mind? What do you think you could do to help alleviate some of the stress and reduce the affective filter that students view their classroom participation through? So in closing, I hope this small technique helps make a big change in the way your students participate in class. And as always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.